SucceedOnline.Us, and I wanted to talk a little about the dreaded three-way call, why it works, how powerful it can be for helping grow a team and to duplicate. And when I first started in this business, in my business opportunity, I really didn't know or understand how it worked or why it worked. Because we all kind of got started at the same time, and we were all so new to network marketing. And excuse me, so we had like this one upline that had 1,000 people calling her all the time, so she wasn't always available, so we just kind of had to wing it and do it ourselves. And now if that's your only option, that's your only option. But it finally began to click when I found a downline rep or promoter that started getting it. They started making phone calls. So many people in my team, I would tell them, the answer to anything is, I think I know or I don't know. Let's get someone on the phone that can tell us. And it took a long time to really find someone that would truly, truly use that. And when it started happening, it was amazing. I've done 8 three-way calls today with this new person, just bringing people left and right. And it's working like a charm. And it finally occurred to me, the more and more I tell my story, a story doesn't change. However, when I only do a three-way call once or twice a week, or maybe once a month, I don't know. I've been doing this for a couple of years now. I was always telling my story in a different way. It's always the same story, but it's always a different way. So when I did it 8 times in the same day, it finally occurred to me, these are the same key points that people want to hear, that people are connecting with. So it's the same thing. And then it occurred to me, this new person, she's going to get tired of hearing my story. And then I thought, no, that's it. That's the key. In the beginning, she didn't have to know anything. All she had to do was connect people to me, to share my experience, because I've got a couple of years doing this. And so she hears it over and over, this as much as I've told it in the last few days. And it occurred to me that there you go. You learn without even thinking about it. So in the beginning, when you're ready, the goal in this is your business, is to get you independent as quickly as possible, right? Nobody wants to answer the phone for 1,000 people. I want to grow my team. I want to help you learn and get started and grow your team. And when you're ready, you're going to be doing the same for somebody else. And then it goes on down the line. Well, that duplication, that breakdown, that three-way call is part of the problem. And so we noticed, she's going to hear this story over and over. And it occurred to me, when you get tired of hearing my story, you're ready to do your own three-way calls. Because you can start with my story. And as you're building your experience and as you're learning, you'll find the key points of yours that are significant or will help people to understand the opportunity or whatever it is that you have to offer. So there is that. I've said many times that the three-way call works. I'm not sure exactly why. Just believe it does and use it. Now I see that it does work, and there's a reason. It's called duplication. And it's not duplicating that everybody needs to do three-way calls. It's understanding that by doing them over and over and over, we begin to learn, we retain the information, and we understand how to do it. So by me telling my story 15 times in a day, my story gets better and better, tighter and tighter. I know the points. I know when to stop and pause and listen. I know what questions to ask to find out more information, to see how can we help further. And it's always the same pattern. And then that person that's on the other line bringing the call to me is hearing the same thing over and over and over. And when you get to that point where, like, man, I've heard his story a million times, I could tell it in my sleep, you're ready for your own three-way calls. So there you go. Find someone. It doesn't have to be your upline. It could be someone cross-line. It could be someone in your team, that just has a great story. You got to work together. And I always close my three-way calls with this. If you can do what so-and-so just did by connecting you on the phone with someone, we will help you get started. You don't have to know anything. Does that make sense? And they always say yes. And if I say, it's not yes or no, does that make sense? That's not the answer. Does that make sense? Yes or yes? and it always makes sense. And it works. And that's why it works. It's the duplication of actually doing it. And if you're only doing it once a month, once every couple months, once a week, it's always a little bit different the way you tell your story. And when you really get going, you find someone that's willing to work with you and just make that happen, it becomes an oiled, fine-tuned machine, and things really start rocking and rolling. Just a little tip for today. Love you guys. Talk to you later.